Everything leaks now. Question papers of exams to national secrets are leaking out. WikiLeaks. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with the main points in a nutshell. US military unveils a smart gun. WikiLeaks cables depict Afghan graft starting at top. Indian media stars caught up in corruption scandal. India encouraging private sector in defense production. Barack Obama in surprise Afghan visit to thank troops. Bhopal, India wants compensation doubled. And now the news in detail. US military unveils smart gun. A new gun the US military hopes will help take on the Taliban has been unveiled. Called the XM-25, it has been described by the US Army as a game changer. It uses a laser guidance system and specially developed 25 mm high explosive rounds, which can be programmed to detonate over a target. Richard Oded helped develop it for the US Army and says it's a big leap forward because it's the first small arms weapon to use smart technology. The way a soldier operates this is basically find your target, then laser to it, which gives the range, then you get an adjusted aim point, adjust the fire and pull the trigger. Say you have lasered 543 meters. When you pull the trigger, it arms round and fires at 543 meters plus or minus 1, 2 or 3 meters. It means the weapon can be used to target insurgents hiding behind walls or in ditches without the need to call in airstrikes. That makes it a full solution fire control weapon. It's already been issued to soldiers in the US military serving in Afghanistan and could be used by British Special Forces too. In a statement, the MOD wouldn't comment on the new gun, but it said it's committed to provide front-line troops in Afghanistan with the best possible equipment. In addition, it said it's always interested in evaluating emerging technology.
The U.S. has unveiled a new smart gun for use in Afghanistan. The XM-25 is reportedly the first gun of its kind. It uses a laser guidance system along with shells embedded with a special microchip that allows them to explode mid-air, which makes them ideal for targets.
WikiLeaks cables depict Afghan graft starting at top. From hundreds of diplomatic cables, Afghanistan emerges as a looking-glass land where bribery, extortion, and embezzlement are the norm of the honest official is a distinct outlier. Describing the likely lineup of Afghanistan's new cabinet last January, the American embassy noted that the Agriculture Minister Asif Rahimi appears to be the only minister that was confirmed about who no allegations of bribery exist. One Afghan official helpfully explained to diplomats the 4 stages at which his colleagues skimmed money from American development projects. When contractors bid on a project, at application for building permits, during construction, and at ribbon-cutting ceremony. In a seemingly victory against corruption, Abdul Ahad Shahibi, the mayor of Kabul, received a 4-year prison sentence last year for massive embezzlement. But a cable from embassy told a very different story. Mr. Shahibi was a victim of kangaroo court justice. It said in what appeared to be retribution for his attempt to halt and corrupt land distribution scheme. It is hardly new that predatory corruption fueled by bombing illicit narcotics industry is rampant at every level of Afghan society. Transparency International, an advocacy organization that tracks government corruption around the globe, ranks Afghanistan as the world's 3rd most corrupt country, behind Somalia and Myanmar.
there, right in the WikiLeaks thing. At one point, some Apache helicopter soldiers say, we have some civilians down there that want to surrender, and the lawyer from headquarters says, you can't surrender to a helicopter, boom, boom, and the civilians. I mean, it's the worst kind of thing, and WikiLeaks has done a great service to our country by exposing that.
Indian media stars caught up in corruption scandal. India's feisty media claim to be guardians of national democracy, but a scandal involving high-profile journalists and telephone taps has given the country its own WikiLeaks-style controversy. At the center of the storm is India's best-known television journalist, Burkha Dutt, who is accused of acting as a power broker in negotiations involving big business and government over allocation of cabinet seats. Tapes recorded by the police have emerged as part of a major row over the cut-rate sale of mobile phone licenses in 2007-2008, which is estimated to have cost the Treasury as much as $40 billion in lost revenues. Transcripts of the 104 tapes, many of which have been printed by 2 news magazines, have brought question marks over the reputations of Dutt, veteran newspaper columnist Veer Sanghvi, and other big media names. The tapes are treasure trove for close followers of New Delhi's interwoven media, business and political scenes. A number of them, with record of the conversations about 30 journalists, date back to 2009, when he re-elected Congress Party was patching together its current coalition government. India encouraging private sector in defense production. The government is encouraging consortiums and joint ventures to ensure a greater role for the private sector in the defense industry, Minister of State for Defense Pallam Raju said Thursday. We have relied on the public sector in the past, but increasingly we want to leverage the capabilities of private sector also, Raju said in his address to the Defense Communications Seminar. He said the steps the government was taking include promoting consortium, joint ventures, and public-private partnership. The ultimate aim is to create indigenous capabilities and achieve the aim of self-reliance in the defense sector, he continued. He observed that the Indian industry had created a niche for itself globally and was now prepared and poised for a greater participation in defense production at home. On the ambitious Tactical Communication System (TCS) networking project of the Corps of Signals, Raju said after a few delays the program is well on the way.
The important thing is, of course, that we are in dialogue with a company like, you know, they have been willy-nilly making a number of alliances to address the burgeoning defense market in India. They have made headway with a number of partners and alliances.
Ivory Coast poll overturned. Gbagbo declared winner. Ivory Coast Constitutional Council has overturned earlier poll results and declared President Laurent Gbagbo as winner of Sunday's runoff. On Thursday, the Electoral Commission head said opposition candidate Alassane Ouattara had defeated Mr. Gbagbo. But the Constitutional Council chairman said results in 7 regions in the north, where Mr. Ouattara draws most of his support, had been annulled. The poll was intended to reunify the nation after civil war in 2002. The 2 candidates represent the 2 sides of the North-South divide that exists religiously, culturally, and administratively in the world's largest cocoa producer. Paul Yao-Andre, chairman of the Constitutional Council, which validates election results, said Mr. Gbagbo had won a little more than 51% of the vote. The irregularities are of such nature that they invalidate the vote. FB news agency quotes Mr. Andre as saying on national television about the annulled northern votes. The head of the Electoral Commission had said Mr. Gbagbo won 46% of the ballots cast.
I've received the following results. Laurent Gbagbo, 2,054,537 votes, or 51.45%. Mr. Alassane Ouattara, 1,938,672.
And Before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. US military unveils a smart gun. WikiLeaks cables depict Afghan graft starting at top. Indian media stars caught up in corruption scandal. India encouraging private sector in defense production. Barack Obama in surprise Afghan visit to thank troops. Bhopal, India wants compensation doubled. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.